What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Tough Runs Don't Last podcast. I'm your host, Grandpa. On this screen on the other is Michelle, Zingulis, and Furpa. Say what's up, Michelle and Furpa.
What's up, Michelle and Furpa?
Furpa's chilling over there. Looking forward to a very exciting show Sunday night. Coming at you a little later than usual. Michelle was too good for us this afternoon, but that's okay. She's here now. Before we get started, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor. The Tough Runs Don't Last podcast is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the one-of-a-kind Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience, track it with your fitness app of choice, screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the Submit Results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section for t-shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series. And you can find us, the Tough Runs Don't Last podcast, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on X, Instagram, and TikTok at TR Don't Last. How'd I do, Michelle?
10 out of 10. Good job.
Okay, thank you. All right, so main thing going on today, you and I haven't really talked today, so there was no really briefing before we hit record. But the Chicago Marathon was today, and a new record was set in the women's marathon. I don't remember who set it, but the men's world record was set last year, and tragically, that runner died. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he died tragically. I think it was a car accident or something like that. But a year later, the women's record gets broken. I should have looked up her name, but came in under 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2:09 and change. So big day in Chicago at the Chicago Marathon, new women's world record. Are you looking things up, Michelle?
Yeah, her name is Ruth. I cannot even attempt her last name.
Okay, where is she from?
Kenya.
Okay, sounds about right. The Kenyans are very fast. So do you want to spell the name and give it a shot there?
It's CHEPNGETICH.
I got lost in some alphabets there, but I would guess Chet something. I guess who's probably my favorite female marathon runner, Sarah Hall. She ran it today. That's really the only reason I follow her and Emma Bates on socials, and that was how I was reminded that Chicago was today. I was like, oh, they're doing training runs in Chicago for that. Sarah Hall was there the year I did it in 2021. The Chicago Marathon is one of 6 pro marathon majors. It is the fastest course in the United States. And I don't know, maybe it's between that and Berlin as far as the flattest and fastest courses as far as majors go. Interesting stuff going on in the marathon majors, by the way. We'll get to that in a little bit. The Chicago Marathon was the hands down most awesome running experience I've ever had. Running through downtown Chicago, all the cool parts. It's like a party the entire way. All the neighborhoods are like trying to outdo each other as far as hype and things go. Chinatown was the most exciting part for me, just because I mean they were having a good time, a great time, cheering on all the runners. Boys Town was also wild in a way that you would only expect from Boys Town for those of you that know anything about Chicago, North Side in particular. Chicago was an amazing experience. At the time, it was a PR for me. My time was 4:52:46, and at the time, that was a PR. This was October 10th, 2021, and I can remember all this because I did break my medal out. the Chicago Marathon medal. I originally wasn't going to break it out just because my dog was asleep in front of the drawer that I keep this in, so I wasn't going to. But yeah, this is my Chicago Marathon medal. And at the time, I think it was the best one they had because they were kind of known as having some pretty ugly medals, quite frankly. I saw the ones in years past and I was like, that's a terrible looking medal. When I saw the reveal for this one, the one I would be getting, I was pretty excited about it because I was like, that's way better than what they've had in the past. And they're staying on that level as far as nice medals go. The one this year had a purple ribbon, looks good. I like the one last year too. It was like the 25th anniversary or something like that last year, and it looked really neat also. But yeah, I thought I would break out my Chicago Marathon medal for this one in honor of my favorite marathon race that I've ever run by a million. And I've run a lot of those. So, congratulations to everyone that ran the Chicago Marathon. Hopefully, everyone, well, it'll be tomorrow that you pick up a Chicago Tribune. You can actually order that stuff too, though. You can go online and order like a catalog with all the finishers and all that, and you can actually order a Chicago Tribune no matter where you're at. I picked mine up the day after we left Chicago. We were supposed to leave that Monday, and there was a mix up with our flight, and like the flight got canceled because of the weather or something. So bummer, I had to stay an extra night in Chicago. It was just it was great. I wasn't mad about it. Called work and said, I'm not gonna make it tomorrow, guys. You're gonna have to go another day without me. And yeah, we didn't do anything. We just hung around like the Sheridan, and um I actually knew some people in Chicago. So I was like, pick me up and let's go do something around here. And we did that. But yeah, it was a good time. And I just ate twice there at the bar in the Sheraton. They had really good food there at the airport. I mean, Chicago airport. So, but yeah, Chicago's an amazing city. My favorite city that I've been to, big city wise, that is. Still had the best lasagna I've ever had in my life. Night one there. Pretty cool spot, place, etc. Have you seen any video of anything about people running that race or a major in particular? Have you ever looked it up?
No, I have not.
Okay, what's the biggest race scene you've ever been a part of? Is it Little Rock?
Yeah.
Okay. Sh a major is basically that on steroids. So imagine that times about 100, and that's the race experience. I got there. I don't remember even what time I actually started, but we had to get there, and it's the majors. It's a whole process. The expo is massive. It's huge. There's a big line to get in. There's all these cool vendors. The Little Rock Marathon people were actually there, by the way. I saw them and I was like, "Hey, I know you all. I'm from there." So that was neat to see. But when you get your packet a day or two before at the expo, you have to check into the race when you get there. You have to go through this. It's almost like airport stuff outside. I mean, you have to go through, show your credentials, all that. I mean, the bib is the size of like a poster board, it feels like, on your chest. So it's a process to get in there, but once you get in there, it's pretty relaxed. You have all this space to move around. You just have to be at your corral at a certain time. So the elites start first, right? And then it goes in waves after that. And the fastest people get to go first. And then just, the slower, and so on. It was and I brought up Sarah Hall early because I remembered hearing her name amongst the elites and just all the people that were there doing that. And I eventually got to go. It was cool. I hung out with the guy from Buffalo. We were just shooting the breeze, talking about football before the race. That was his first ever marathon. And I was like, yeah, you picked a heck of a marathon to have your first. Um, but very cool dude. Don't remember his name. But yeah, we were just talking football and running basically. He said he asked me how many marathons I'd run at the time. It was like I don't remember. It was like 9 or 10 or something like that. And he said, "Oh, well, I'm gonna ask you a question." He was asking me all types of stuff about it, just how to handle it and things like that. Um, and you're not a sports person, but the Chicago Bulls in their heyday during the Jordan days had this just iconic intro music as they were announcing the starting five. And what I thought was cool about the Chicago Marathon, as your wave is coming up, they play that music as you're walking to the start line. I mean, that's like if you know anything about the 90s Bulls or were a fan, I mean, that's an adrenaline rush that you just can't replicate. That was very surreal and lots of fun. But I had a blast. Ran as hard as I ever have in my life at that race. Like I said, it was a PR at the time. They gave they gave us a massive beer at the end of it. Goose Island, I want to say is the name of it. Can't recall. I have the water bottle from them still in my cabinet there that you get at the expo. But I got a massive beer from them. Chugged it. I was very tired. I was very sore, and so the beer hit different then. And that was one time, like I never run with my phone. That was one time I kind of wished I had a phone though, because my mom and her husband at the time were there, and I had no idea where to find them. I basically walked 2 or 3 extra miles after the race just to find them. And then we had to walk, I don't remember, a mile or two back to the hotel. So I got all kinds of miles in that day. I almost ran like a 50K or walked a 50K. I mean, you kind of do that anyway, staying in downtown Chicago, though. I mean, we walked probably 20, 30,000 steps a day while we were there because that's just what you do in a big city like that. But congratulations to everyone that ran the Chicago Marathon today. You are forever a Chicago marathoner, like myself. So you'll get your little iTab thing that they call it in the mail within the next. It took a while. It took weeks, maybe even like a couple of months. I don't remember, but they send you a little thing with your name and time on it that you just plug on the back of the metal. It just sticks right on there and it stays. Like that thing hasn't moved since I put it on there 3 years ago or almost 3 years ago. Any chance you do anything like that, Michelle?
Absolutely not.
It is a very pricey thing to do if you don't qualify.
Yeah.
My registration at the time, this was actually, gosh, 4.5 or so years ago when I got accepted because I was supposed to do it in 2020, and of course, this is before COVID happened, and that happened, so I got deferred to 21, which I'm glad I did it in 21. It was just a good time to do it for me, timing wise and everything. But yeah, at the time it was a $333 registration, if I remember correctly. So it's very pricey. That's not counting the plane ride there and back or the hotel, food, all that stuff. But if you can afford it, it's worth it. It's an amazing one of a kind experience. If that's your thing, I highly recommend it. Have nothing but good things to say about Chicago and the Chicago Marathon. Five-star experience from start to finish for me. Uh, they did overbook my flight getting there though, so that was irritating. But I got $1,000 flight voucher out of it, and that's how I got to go to Europe last year at the end of last year. So not too upset about that.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to like the major news, by the way, for those of you interested in the 6 star journey and things like that, the World Marathon Majors currently consist of 6 major marathons. Can you name them, Michelle?
I think so.
Give it a shot.
Chicago, Boston, New York, London, Berlin, and Paris?
No,
I don't know the sixth one.
you do think about it. Think Asia.
Tokyo.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. So you didn't get it right, but that was a pretty good shot. Yeah, there are currently 6, and others are going to be added. It's just a matter of time. And this freaks out the people that have already completed their 6 star journey. And how Abbott is the sponsor for this. Like Abbott Health, I don't know, they're in charge of like health and nutrition, that kind of thing. We get their feeding stuff in the hospital I work at. So I know a little bit about their products, but they say that they're going to keep the 6 star finisher stuff, wall, etc. I don't know how you handle that. It's probably a matter of time before that eventually goes away too. I don't know, maybe not. That used to be like my biggest running goal was to do all 6 marathon majors, and Chicago is easy to get into. You have like at the time you had like a 50-50 shot of getting in. I don't know if it's gotten easier or harder. It tends to just get harder as the years go by. Like London, like I said, if you don't qualify or go through a charity, which the charities are very pricey for many of these, which you have to raise money for. Boston, last I checked, you had to raise at least $20,000 to get a bib to Boston if you don't qualify. And to qualify, you got to be like top 1% of the world running. So if you're going through the lottery like I did, which is how I got into Chicago, like I said, like I had a 50-50 shot and I got accepted to that. I tried to get into 3 other majors, Berlin, London, and New York, got denied all of them. Last I checked, Berlin, you had about anywhere between like a 30 and 35% chance. Um, London and New York, I think it's about a 3% chance. You have about a 3% chance of getting in through the lottery. So I mean, you might as well go buy a lottery ticket if you get into that because it's very hard to get into. I know people that don't even train, like they're done training and they'll still apply to New York every year, New York or London, just because they know it's like, well, if I get in, it gives me a reason to train because they just kind of bank on the fact that they're not going to get in. Sorry, my nose is really itching tonight. I don't know what the deal is. For those of you watching on Spotify and YouTube, I don't have a booger or anything. It just really itches on the outside of my nose, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe the facial hair. I don't know. But going back to the majors, they're probably going to add 3 more. I think last I heard, like Cape Town is potentially being added. Is that South Africa?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe that's looking at getting added. Maybe one in Australia. Um, somewhere else. I don't even remember where exactly now, where the ones that are trying to get added. How it works is, I believe you have to meet these certain standards that the majors say that you have to do. And you have to repeat that, I think, for at least consecutive years in order to be considered and then added. So it's just it makes nothing but sense to add more races because it's more money. I mean, it's that much more money. So it only makes that much more sense to just continue to add races. So that's news there as far as that goes. I used to be really on top of this stuff as far as the majors go. but that's back when that was what I wanted to do. After Chicago, I got that jolt of, man, I really want to have this feeling again. But when I came back down to earth and basically looked at the finances and what it would cost me to do all of that, I said, no, you know what? There are a lot of really good local races. I think I'll stick with that. And really nationwide stuff just here in the States if you have other goals that you want to do. So I say that I know a guy. Did you see the guy I was talking to at the MacArthur Park 5K?
No.
Uh, well, he was he paces. I met him at the Little Rock Marathon. He was a pacer. He was like the 5 hour pacer, I believe, or he might have been 450 at the time. I can't recall, but he paced the 5 hour group last year or this past year, and I was just shooting the breeze with him at the MacArthur Park 5K, and he got to run London a few weeks prior or before that race, the MacArthur Park 5K, that is. And I, of course, was like, how in the heck did you get into that? And he paces a lot. And he said, yeah, I got in touch with the right person or somebody talked to me about it. They said, hey, are you interested? He's a black man. And so he said that they were looking for more diverse pacers. And so he got asked to do that. So he got to run London just as a pacer. And I mean, he got a bib for London. So that's pretty amazing. Um, Another reason I wanted to get into pacing, but free race registrations, that is. But yeah, that's just a little news about the Chicago Marathon, the World Marathon Majors. You were looking something up, it looked like. Were you looking up as I was chatting away?
I looked up the 3 cities that were possibly being added.
And what are they?
They are Shanghai, Cape Town, and Sydney.
Okay.
So you are correct.
Well, on 2 of them. Yeah, I just couldn't remember the other one.
It actually says that um Sydney achieved its first evaluation pass in 2023. So it seems to be on its way.
Cape Town and Sydney were the 2 that I had recalled, and I heard that they were basically going to go from 6 to 9, most likely when they were going to add them. And they'll add more than that. I mean, I'm sure they'll add more than that eventually because why would you not? I mean, Earth is huge,
Yeah.
and it's just that much more money to be made. So why would you not do that?
Yeah.
And to keep it at 6 would be weird if you're going to call it the World Marathon Majors and 3 of them are in the United States. You
Yeah.
know,
They
that's
need to
kind of,
be a little bit more spread out for sure.
yeah. So it only makes sense to do that. Um, yeah. So it's not anything I'm interested in pursuing just because of the price. If somebody wanted to give me a bid for every one of these races and pay for my trips and all that stuff, I would be more than happy to do it then. But that's not going to happen. So I'm just going to stick to what I'm doing now, which is pretty much local stuff. You see my beast pacing hat that I'm rocking. I will be pacing a race this coming Sunday. So we're probably not going to have a show next weekend because I will be in Northwest Arkansas. I'll be pacing Sunday morning in Fayetteville. The 2 hour, 20-minute group. I am the pace captain, by the way. So I've actually got my box of signs and dowels over there that I need to put together at some point this week. So I get to run a actual live race Sunday, half marathon. That'll be number 20 something for me officially overall. Can't even remember at this point. But that'll be my next race officially. I am for half marathons into the Rhino Ultra, though. I was actually going to do number 5 today, and I realized yesterday, really last night, that I probably wasn't going to get the 5th one in today because I needed to do 2 of 3 things today. I needed to podcast, check here, and I either needed to give my dog a bath or run a half marathon. And I went fishing all day yesterday with my dad, and my dog came, and we were at a spring. So we were basically, Dex was, of course, with me, and so he was in the dirt and grass all day. So he needed a bath today, and he got one. He's all clean now, so it's all good. So that was more important than getting another half marathon in today. I mean, I got 10 weeks to do it. I don't remember how many weeks I'm into now, 4 or 5, but I got 4 of them done. And the plan is to double up next week. So if anything, I should be caught up by the end of next week. So plan to do a half marathon training run Wednesday, and then an actual half marathon on Sunday. And then the next race after that is in your hood, Michelle, the Arkansas 20K. You okay there? Looks like your cat's Furpa again. All right, for those of you watching, we see Furpa's forehead right now and ears. Now eyeballs. Hey Furpa, how's it going? There's a lot going on here. Say hello to the world.
He's freaking out right now. And now he sees himself on camera.
He doesn't seem to be. He seems very cool and collected, just like, whoa, what is going on here?
He is never cool and collected unless he's asleep.
Fair enough. I still haven't put the screw back into my chair, by the way, so I'm very careful to not lean to the right too much. I haven't had any issues yet, but I really should get that taken care of.
You probably should. It's a little dangerous.
I don't know about dang. Well, yeah, probably so. Especially considering I fell again during my run Friday. Why are you covering your mouth?
Not funny, but it's funny.
No, it's funny. But yes, I was like 11 miles in at this point. I was running home, like I was on my way back home because it was pretty close to 13.1 at that point, and I was running over along this sidewalk along a main road in Cabot, and either a tree root or something had pushed the sidewalk up to where it was like this. You know, it goes from this to this at a certain point, and I mean, like, it's steep if you're running, that is, and tired like I was. It was night at this point, so I couldn't see very well. On top of that, my legs are tired, so I'm not getting as much lift on them as normal. And I just misjudged it. And like I said, dark, tired, that's a recipe to trip and fall. And I did full on tripped, not picking my feet up enough, and did the whole roll like I did the first time that I fell a few weeks ago. So, but I fell the same way. I rolled and everything. Got a little scrape on the knee, got a little scrape on the palm of my hand, but it's fine. That was the worst of it. I got up and said, okay, I was in front of a church, and it has this parking lot that's kind of a semicircle. And so I said, all right, I'll just walk this semicircle, collect myself, and then run the rest of the way. And that's what I did. So finished in 2 hours, 15 minutes and 1 second, I believe. And it ended up being like 13.25 miles because I was so close to home because I kept saying I'm going to stop a little after 13.1. And then I was so close to home, I just said, screw it, just finish running the rest of the way. So that's what I did. And I've got 4 of 10 half marathons done. I have till November 20th to do 6 more. Yeah, that's right, November 20th. So I think I got this. You okay, Michelle?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a podcast, so I mean, feel free to chime in anytime.
I mean, you're doing such a great job, though.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. But yeah, your cat's sitting very interesting right now, by the way.
I mean, he's sitting normally. He's just a bigger cat, so
Fat now.
it looks a little weird, but he's sitting like a normal cat. You can just see his little fat rolls, that's all.
Just growl at you, or what do
He,
they do?
he meowed at me. He didn't growl or hiss. He just meowed.
It didn't look like he liked that though.
He did not, but it was just a meow.
Okay, all right.
He
Just
keeps hitting me with his tail. His tail is very angry down here, and he keeps whacking me with it.
and as he just tried to bite you, it looked like.
He did miss, though. He did not succeed.
He's a very feisty fella.
He really is. Like, he has attacked my friends just for coming in the house. So he's mean. He's evil. Um, I do
He's
not
about to
recommend.
give you the freshest of skippity paps right now.
I know. I'm a little nervous.
Like you sound nervous, you look nervous, you keep looking out the corner of your eye, um, like you're expecting it.
I am. You always have to be a little on edge around him.
I mean, I've had no issues.
Your mic cut out a little bit. I didn't hear you.
Well, you got this mic for me, so that's your fault. Um, but thanks for the free mic. But so sorry everyone that didn't hear that. But I said I haven't had any problems with them the times that I've been around him.
And
And I'm
on,
purposely loud in front of him and things like that just to try to rile him up a little bit.
yeah, I was gonna say you like yell at him and stuff and
Respectfully.
respectfully. Like you okay, for our listeners, it's not like it is respectfully. He'll be like, "Hi, cat." So
No, I'm like, Serpa, Serpa,
he's not like being rude, just very loud.
hey!
And it really does surprise me that he does not hate you as much as he like my best friend cannot come in my house without this cat trying to attack her.
I think that he can sense though that y'all are afraid of him. See, I'm not. I mean, I outweigh the cat by I mean, it's a pretty fat cat, but I outweigh the cat by probably 200 pounds.
Probably.
So, I mean, I like my chances if it comes to that. Don't want it to. I'll probably run first, but
That's honestly the best bet. He's a little scary. I do have scars from him. So, I mean, I'm also bigger than him and I hiss back and I'll knock him down, but he's mean.
okay, hang on. You hiss at him.
When he hisses at me, I hiss back.
How do you hiss?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to just do it. I don't want to make him mad. He has to do it to me first.
Kind of why I was wanting you to do it just to see what he would do.
Yeah, we're not gonna. He's a little close to my face.
Can you do a light hiss?
No.
Well, it doesn't make for good podcasting. So sorry, everyone. Michelle isn't as entertaining on the air. What do you mean by knock him down? Oh, like that? Okay. I mean, that works, I guess.
He was making me nervous anyway. He needed to get down.
Michelle push basically. Those of you that aren't watching on Spotify and YouTube or YouTube.
It's fine. He landed on his feet,
Yeah, I mean, it was gentle-ish. So, I mean, no need to call whoever does that kind of PETA. Is that it?
I
Yeah.
guess. And also, it's good to know, like, I barely touched him and he really jumped. So,
All right. So, speaking of cats, Ichabod, my cat, Dexter, his cough has it's been pretty bad since last night and today. It's just because he was so forced to be so active yesterday. My 14-year-old dog went fishing with me and my dad all day. He didn't do much but sit there. but we were also in, I mean, we're at a spring. So, I mean, we had to climb rocks, and the one place where we could really hang out and for him to stay out of mud was just along this trail that, I mean, is very steep and uneven. So I would find spots for him to lay and get comfortable. And by the way, I carried him everywhere, like from the car down the stairs, all the way to our spot, picked him up, carried him all the way back. When we went to that spring that I sent you a picture of, the big, like the cave, this is Blanchard Springs Caverns, for those of you wondering, in north central Arkansas. I carried him a lot, and that was like a walkway. That's like a paved walkway. So he walked most of it, but there were portions where I picked him up and carried him too. And when we went out to the rocks, I had to carry him. I had to like like carefully step through each rock, but with him in my arms. All for a good photo that I will always cherish because it is a good photo, right?
It is a good photo.
Yeah. So totally worth it. But still, even though I carried him everywhere, that was a lot of work for him. But yeah, his cough has been really bad since then, and it's getting better at the moment. But the point is, Ichabod was in here this afternoon, and I was drinking coffee. I went and ate lunch with my family, and didn't drink coffee till later this afternoon. And I took a sip, and it just went down the wrong pipe, And I had this like cough that sounded like his, essentially. Ichabod picked her head up, turned around. She was in the bed and immediately came over to me, hopped in my lap, and was like seeing about me to like see, make sure I was okay. So I was like, dang, this cat really does like care about me.
Yeah,
So,
cats know when you're sick, and they say that cats like purr at a frequency that can like help healing. And so cats do that.
okay, we're not a hippie podcast, Michelle.
Today we are.
Apparently soon. But Ichabod didn't do that. She just came up and made sure I was okay and was basically like, here for you, and something attacks you, I'll murder them. That's what I took it as.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. Well, I'm going to keep feeding you as a result of this and let you in the house at times. Um, what's yours doing right now? Just
He's just,
finding a place to chill.
yep, laying down on the little bookshelf thing.
Lots of FERPA in this episode.
Yeah.
Didn't I bring Ichabod in here one time and like pick him up and they saw each other on the camera?
I don't remember. Maybe, possibly.
I believe so. Yeah, they both looked at each other and it was typical reaction, like what the hell is that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, okay. All right. So running wise this week, I've already said that I'm doing a 13.1 mile training run Wednesday. I'll do a shorter run Thursday. That's the plan at least. And then I'm leaving town Friday in preparation for Sunday. Pacing a half marathon there. So it's probably going to be another busy weekend for me, but I'm not going to be working the following Monday, so I'm cool with it. Really love pacing, by the way, so I am looking forward to that. It's more of a more relaxed run for me, as opposed to the balls to the wall competitive side of me, which I do enjoy that too. But we are 17 races down with that one with just 3 to go. But the next one is in your hood in Benton, October 26th. So I am looking forward to that. And that will I guess be I guess the Sunday after that will probably be our next show, right?
I think so.
All right, cool. So 18th Grand Prix race recap to talk about on our next episode. I'll be talking about the pacing run too. I'll even show off my Beetlejuice medal that I'll be rocking. Um, you haven't brought it up yet, and maybe it just hasn't. We can end the show on this, but maybe I'll regret bringing it up. Have you checked your fantasy football scoreboard today?
I have. I
And
absolutely have.
you weren't going to bring it up, or did it just slip your mind, or did
Oh, it
you?
didn't slip my mind. I just was gonna let it pass.
You didn't want to rub it in?
No, but I mean, I will now.
I mean, go for it. I've
Um,
done most of the talking on the show, so take over from here.
I would like to remind our listeners that this is my very first year playing fantasy football. And I only got this team because this lovely co-host over here wanted to do this. And if you remember, last week we talked about how
Hang
we were
on.
going to
Thanks
be
for calling me lovely, by the way. All right,
you're,
continue.
you're welcome. That we were going to be playing each other this week. And to start off, we were tied. So we both had
Four and
same
one.
4-1 records. So
So
we'd
we
won.
both had 4-1 records going
Yeah.
into this week. We were the only two teams in our league with 4-1 records. So we were the top two teams in the league going into this matchup.
So one of us was going to take the lead today, no matter what, or tomorrow, technically, I guess. Um,
Tuesday, technically, but yes.
Tuesday, whatever. And as of right this minute, 9:19 p.m. on Sunday, um, Graham has 67.4 points. and
All of my people have played, by the way. That's worth noting.
all of his people have played. And I have 127.58 points.
I mean,
There-
if you're gonna shit the bed, just diarrhea all over the bed. Like just go, just let it all go. And that's what my team has done. I mean, we just went Amber Heard all over the scoreboard this week.
yeah.
It's worth noting I have predominantly, well, not predominantly, but three of my stars were Chiefs players. I have Patrick Mahomes, I had Rashee Rice, I have Harrison Butker as my kicker. They are on a bye this week. Rashee Rice is out for the year. I did get Juju Smith-Schuster to replace him, who's probably going to take over that role the rest of the year. But still, they were all on buys this week. And I'm not going to mention the other injuries just because everybody has injuries. You don't have Nico Collins. You don't have Isaiah Pacheco. Nico Collins was the number one receiver in the league, and you're having to play without him this week.
Yeah.
So injuries aren't an excuse. My guys just flat out didn't show up. What did my defense get? -7 points.
-7. And then one of your running backs got -0.1.
Yeah, Travis Etienne, who's considered a pretty good back, has basically, yeah, it's a running back by committee now. Plus he got hurt. Excuse me, what's the problem? Why are you laughing?
One of my people just got a touchdown.
Who's one of your people?
Uh, Tracy Jr., T. Tracy Jr., Tyrone Tracy Jr.
Oh, the Giants running back.
Yeah.
Why did you pick him up, by the way? What made you do that?
Because Singletary is out this week. So
He does replace his handcuff.
yeah.
Handcuff means like his replacement. You go and you handcuff the backup in case the starter gets hurt.
Yeah.
Which is what I did with Juju Smith-Schuster after Rashee Rice got out for the year.
Yeah. So that's just what happened with that.
Okay, so what's the score now?
127.58. It was only a 1-yard rush, so I went up 1 point.
Well, how is that if he scored a touchdown?
It says 1-yard rush. It says my touchdowns 1-yard rush. and then it went up to 127.
Okay, but that's what it was when we talked about it earlier. So you reacted like he just scored or something. So I'm
He
confused.
had. Like it just happened.
Oh, well, then the score should be different then.
Well, it was 126.58.
Okay, point is, I'm getting dominated this week by Michelle.
I'm
So
gonna be number one.
yes, you are. You're going to be number one in the league. The one perk is I'll be above you on the waiver wire because moves will be made for sure, but mainly because, my Chiefs guys will be back from bye this week. And I can make some changes, and that's all I'm going to say about it because certain changes, well, they're pretty obvious, the ones that need to be made. And I'll worry about that on Tuesday. But I guess it's a good thing I haven't watched much football this weekend. I watched nearly no football. I didn't think I was going to watch any college football yesterday. Of course, Arkansas was off this week. So it was a perfect day to go fishing all day. I did get home and watch the rest of the Colorado and Kansas State game, which was actually a really good game. And then I went to bed and slept in for the first time this week. And still haven't really watched any football today. Just had too much stuff going on, family stuff, and giving my dog a bath, podcasting, and now I got to cook some hamburger meat. So, or it expires, but I'll get lunch tomorrow out of it. So I'm good there. But yeah, I just figured everyone would want to know about how our fantasy football matchup was going.
And
I
who?
would have brought it up a lot sooner if I were you, because we did say last week that we were going to let everyone know how it was going. So, if anything, like for the sake of not leaving our listeners hanging, got to give them an update there. But yeah, I'm fully getting my ass kicked, and it happens to the best of us. Hopefully, this will humble us, and we'll
I don't
regroup.
aspire to be humble.
Well, we don't either, but we were forced to be. Um, so yeah, when you're forced to eat, when you're thinking you're going to get chicken salad and you get chicken crap, you got to go back to the kitchen and try to come up with something closer to chicken salad than chicken crap, so you can have a better better food next time. And that's what I'm going to tell my guys this week. We're going to have a come to Jesus moment.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's when I saw the score though, because I checked the score probably 30 minutes before we got on here. I wasn't even mad. I was like, man, if you're gonna lose, I mean just lose that bad. Just fully lose. And that's what they're doing. So it's what it is.
It's true.
Okay. Well, now that we got that out of the way, I guess we can get off of here. Again, congratulations to all Chicago Marathon finishers. Um, rock your medal like I do mine. And I guess we'll see y'all at the end of October, which you and I still gotta watch The Shining. We haven't done that, so we'll need to do that soon. It's a movie that Michelle doesn't watch movies, but it's one that I like and she hasn't seen, and she really likes horror movies, so I'm trying to get her to watch this one. So
That's not true at all.
yeah, well, next time we hang out, we'll be sure to remedy that. So I don't have anything to add unless you do, Michelle.
Nope, I'm good.
Which I guess if you do, I still don't have to add it.
It's true.
My words have been mixed up this weekend. It's okay. It's the weekend.
Yeah.
It's just words anyway. All right, but we'll see y'all next time. For me, Michelle, and Furpa in the background. This is the Tough Runs Don't Last podcast. See you at the next one.
See ya.
Deuces, y'all.